four dragons preside over the four seasons: spring, summer, fall, winter.
This
we
know
is true.
Is true. The four created 20 dragons of earth and sky, and each of the four became part of the world. This we know is true. It's a work in progress.
The dragon of spring became the wind of magic. The dragon of summer became the sun called Yor. The dragon of fall became the colors of emotion. The dragon of winter became the moon called Badra.
This we know is
true.
The 20 dragons were gifted with dominion over land and sky. This we know is
true. And in turn shaped the land, water, sky, and weather.
This we know is
true.
Even now, the world is protected by the 4 and the 20.
This we
know
is true. Good job, everyone.
All right, this is the high part.
Alice.
Oh, hi!
Oh, yeah, this is me. I do this bit now. Oh, hi, everyone, and welcome to the Scratticus Academy. I'll run through a quick few things before I hand back over to Mal in a sec. Please check out the links to our Discord. You can find a chat just for this game, so please head over there. If you miss anything, go check out YouTube. There will be a playlist for each game. Also, a huge thank you to our wonderful sponsors in the form of Mage Hand Press, which you can now pre-order Dark Matter. It's freaking amazing. I suggest you go and have a look. And also the Deck of Many, Humblewood. Go and check it out. It's amazing. I think it's all being sent out now. People are starting to receive their copies. They've got loads of Black Friday deals, and they also, if you use the code Scratticus, you get free delivery over on that. And last but not least, you can see our brand new sponsor in the form of Hero Forge, which is really addictive to make minis on, and they go into so much detail and they're just amazing. So please go check them out, because I have lost many a lunchtime to making these. I'll hand back over to you, Mel.
Oh, hi. I'm gonna, what do I want to say today? I don't know. We're missing 2 people. We're gonna have a session 0.5 instead of our full session 1. And I guess before I talk about myself, let's go around and we'll start with Bree.
Well, hi there. It's NPC Bree. Today I am playing Scout, a very young and precocious healer. She is an autumn magic. I don't know how to describe these characters. She's cute, she's spunky, and she's gonna do her fucking best. Just like me.
Excellent. I'm in love with it already. And then we'll go to Alice.
Oh, hi. I'm Alice, also White Rabbit Pick on Twitter. You can find me here. You can check out what I do over there. I am playing Harper, who is a traveling merchant, a fairly young traveling merchant, and I won't go into what she looks like too much, but she does have a little animal companion that is always at her heels, and she travels a lot, so we'll find out where she's.
And don't forget to check out Alice's Patreon.
Oh God, yes.
I'm gonna pull the Hans move here, and every week check out Alice's Patreon. It's amazing.
I'm so bad at this. So bad. Well, Hans will be proud. Thank you.
I guess that just leaves me. I'm Mal. You can find me all over the place on Melodale. I will be the chronicler of myth for this game. I'm really excited. Everyone's had some great ideas, and we're all super jazzed to get started, I think. Okay. Let's pull another Hans and give me a second to switch music.
I love Hans. Hello?
I mean, I do too.
Hans appreciation right now.
This is every time you say his name, I'm just happy again. This is a very good way to start this game.
Yeah, I mean, and I see Max yelling in chat already. I appreciate Mac too.
I love you, Mac.
Okay, where'd that? That's. Is that a little quiet for everyone else? Okay. From time untold, the world was protected by the 4 and the 20 dragons of earth and sky. The people of Icarus flourished and were content. Seasons came and went, and though the people were satisfied, the 4 were not. And so they gave the 20 dragons of earth and sky a new power. The power to create beings in their image. The power to create familiars or ryujin. The familiars would guide the people and record the tales of their lives and exploits, in turn giving life to the land, the sea, the sky, and the stars. For many generations, the people in the land flourished under the care of the familiars. Until the Dark One came. Raphaton, the Dark One, fell from the darkness of night, sheathed in a cloak of stars, unknown to the people of Icarus. The 4 knew that this Dark One was dangerous to their world and bade the 20 and their familiars to prevent Icarus' destruction. The 1001 familiars strove to vanquish the Dark One, but could not defeat it. In the end, they banished Raphaton from the world using their combined magic, at great loss to their numbers. The world of Icarus breathed a sigh of relief, and the remaining familiars went back to tending the people and the world. But this tale is not yet over. All right. I hope everyone's excited with my dropping lore and things. I think we're just gonna move into talking about stuff, and we'll put on a nice happy track now. How's that sound?
I'm ready.
All right. So, what would we like to talk about first, I guess? Do you want to get into your characters a little more? Do you want to start talking about mechanics and stuff since we've got things to work on?
You lead the way, DM. I will follow you to the ends of the earth.
That's a statement.
Well, since it seems like we all have questions about making characters, why don't we just start with that? So who would like their character worked on first?
Go on, Brie.
All right, it's me. Hello. Scout. Help me with Scout.
Okay. And what class is Scout?
Scout is a healer with a magic type in the season of autumn.
So if you open to page 44 of the PDF, it has your class.
Yes.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I'm just saying I know I have a tab with the PDF somewhere. Yes. I heal. I do first aid and herb gathering.
Okay, so let's see. Healing. You heal a companion's injuries by creating a secret remedy from healing herbs and water. Any healing herb may be used, but the process takes time, so this skill is less effective during combat. It looks like it's just int and spirit to do healing. It doesn't look like you have any bonuses based on what I can see.
So I don't have to worry about any bonuses. I don't think I have any bonuses to any of these, do I?
It doesn't look like you do.
Did
no.
I have to like do stats, or was that automatic? That's a real question, Dungeon Master.
Yes, there are stats. It's actually very simple compared to other places. Let me. So you can use the average set of all 6s across the board for your 4 stats. You can do the standard set, which is a 4, 2 6s, and an 8, or you can use the specialized set, which is 2 4s and 2 8. And then those go into your strength, dexterity, intelligence, and spirit.
I see. But I see I don't know numbers or math.
Numbers, numbers, math, math, math.
Okay. Scout might not be good at anything, but she's real sweet. Kinda. She's mostly nice.
Turn that back on. Yeah, so if you open your stats tab on your character sheet, it'll have your 4 statistics and you just adjust it based on what you've got.
Okay. So I will do that right now.
And then Alice, did you get your stats picked out?
Yep, I think I'm all done. I think I'm already...
I think Scrap went through and did hers for her while we were live. I think that's what happened.
I mean, that's what a good husband would do, right?
I'm going to go D6 across the whole board because she's pleasantly average.
There's nothing wrong with being pleasantly average.
No, not at all. That's how I've skated through almost 24 years of life.
That is literally my life.
I think we'd all say that about ourselves specifically, but yeah, just it's okay to be okay at things. You don't have to be perfect at everything.
Yeah.
Okay. So your max HP is your strength times 2. And your max MP is your spirit times 2. So it looks like those are going to be both 12 because you picked 6s across the board.
Okay. Very good. I'm officially better at rolling things than I was before we started this stream.
And I don't know how much I'm going to worry about carrying capacity because in D&D I hate that, but it's strength plus 3.
I mean, I'm little and I don't expect to carry much of anything. I have big cardigan pockets, and whatever doesn't fit in there probably isn't coming with me.
Awesome. And then did you pick your mastered weapon?
She is going unarmed. She does not use weapons.
Okay. So I know we asked in the group chat, because we're using picnic rules for a lot of stuff. Did you want to just use the picnic rules strength dex for all of the weapon stuff, or did you want to actually use the stats that are attributed to them?
Strength dex sounds great.
Alice?
Sounds good to me.
Okay. So let me go find the picnic rules just to double check that I know what they say.
If wooden stick was a weapon option, I'd take wooden stick, but they didn't.
You can take wooden stick.
Just...
I'll let you take wooden stick.
Can I take a wood? Okay, so she's just gonna run around with a wooden stick. I'll use unarmed for that because I feel like that's most realistic for smacking around with a wooden stick. But she's young and angry, and she wears like big, dumb, like oversized clothes, and she runs around on her dirty knees and just hits people with sticks.
My childhood.
Yes, so under the picnic rules, we can use strength and dex for all accuracy checks, and then strength for all damage rolls, regardless of what stats the weapon is supposed to have. I'll just read the picnic rules, I guess, for all the viewers, since we're kind of going through this and they can learn with us. So picnic rules. You can use these rules to simplify things for players new to Ryutama, all of us, or to get a game going more quickly. Under these rules, item size and durability are ignored, as are the rules for concentration. All weapons use strength and dex for accuracy checks and strength for damage rolls. Also, food and water are automatically refilled, so there's no need for shopping. You can also all start with a backpack, a sleeping bag, wooden utensils, a water pouch, and rations, a basic traveler's set. And then Harper has a pet animal with them, and I know Anik's going to have, I want to say, 3 animals because they're a farmer. And then, so it looks like under the picnic rules, we would also have a party set assigned to one person, a pack animal, a barrel, a wooden chest, a repair set, soap, washing set, torch, flint starter, etc. I guess we'll go into that next week at the top. Because I'm going to guess it's going to be with Anik's animals, but I don't want to force anything on them. Okay, so let's see. Let's go back to healer. I could listen to this song all day.
Yeah.
After I teased you guys yesterday with the music, I listened to the entire playlist just all day.
Very good. I realized when I shared that to the group, I should probably make some of my more like obnoxious Pinterest boards private.
Okay, so it looks like other than your skills, that we've gone through most of what happens with character creation.
Mm-hmm. I think I have to do my magic spells in there, but I might make Scrat do it for me.
Well, I mean, if Alice is done, we can talk about magic, because, I mean, I still need to look. Like, I read it a little bit, but... you picked Autumn Magic?
Yes.
As your seasonal magic?
Only because I have an ability where I can make a moon in the sky, and I think that sounds very nice. It's called Harvest Moon. A beautiful moon appears in the night sky, and this magic may be used at night in an area where the sky is visible. While the spell is in effect, the weather becomes clear, and moonlight illuminates the area. The spring magic Kiguya's ley lamps may be used with this moon, as though it was the real moon. I can also make people cry with my magic. Literally, I just feel tears in someone's eyes and they got a penalty. Seems pretty good. So then I can hit them with a stick.
Blind them and hit them with
Cry!
Okay. So it looks like every person in the world has affinity to the seasons. When you want to invoke magic, you select a spell to cast from your list of available spells, which I don't see anything saying that you don't have access to every spell if in your season.
Oh shit.
It's just everything. Obviously, high level spells cost more magic points.
Right.
I know running out of magic points is bad. I'm pretty sure it's like Cypher system where if one of your pools, if your pool is empty, you pass out, I think, regardless of which pool it is.
I can make magical jam. I can turn any edible item into a long-lasting jam, keeping all of its flavor but preserved for 1 week.
I love jam, so I want that.
I can turn anything into a magical jam. Hello?
I mean, I don't know that everything should be turned into a jam, but lots of things.
That's the life I want.
Everything.
I just love jam.
Okay. Yeah, so it looks like each spell says when you learn it. So you automatically learn Fallen Leaves, Harvest Moon, and Otome Tears, and Magic Jam at level 1. So yeah, you have access to all of those right away.
Very good. And then I picked 2 low-level spells from the incantations, which I will pick Cure Touch because I'm already a healer. And I'll probably do Shooting Star because it's a magical damage spell.
So are you an autumn magic user then? Okay, I'm winter.
So we've got summer, winter, and autumn.
Yeah.
We gotta convince We gotta convince number 4. We gotta make him go spring.
Okay. So yeah, and then on your sheet, in your class, there's the add spells and other modifiers in the class tab.
Mm-hmm.
So you can just
Pop
copy
those
and
bad
paste.
boys.
Yep.
Can I copy them? Oh, I
And
can
thank you for the
copy and
bits.
paste. Thank you for the bits. I'm learning how to play
Thank you,
Read Talking
Vincent.
About live because honestly, fuck it, we do it live here.
Well, I mean, we now all know more than we did before we started.
It's super true.
It's so
And-
wholesome though, like the book itself is so freaking pretty.
It's so pretty, but I get so distracted by how cute it is.
I know, I want a copy though.
Oh
One,
my gosh,
it's the Roll20 sheet's nice, actually. Like,
Mhm.
it is actually really easy to use.
and once we get everything filled out, you can just click on the thing and it'll do it for you, like all their good sheets.
We love Roll20 in this family. In this family, we stand Roll20. I didn't know I could copy and paste in PDFs, and I'm learning something new every day.
Yeah, it's
a
great.
lifesaver. Yeah.
Especially if you're making like a 10th level D&D character and you're just this list of skills and other things that you need to, like, I don't want to type all that up.
I don't even know how to listen. I can barely read. I'm barely a functioning adult.
I mean, that's a mood.
Oh my gosh.
I have kids and I'm a barely a functioning adult.
Hello everyone. I can just create a cubic meter of dead leaves for us to crunch. You're welcome.
I feel like Harper's furry friend might enjoy that.
Oh my god, the fox.
It's so cute. It's so cute and wholesome. Thank you.
Coffee livery?
Coffee delivery. So
Okay.
in the best mug as well, like.
I don't have it here because I drank it with my toast, but I had my fancy beard mug again today, Alice.
I love the
Very
fancy
good.
beard mug. Also, fun fact, Todd got me this. I love it.
Nice. Okay. Ten retweets. Okay, so that means stuff has to happen.
Oh no, what's gonna happen?
Wipe your character sheet, start again.
No.
Do you have the list of things for me, Scrat?
These are
Okay.
things and all.
So some crazy magic stuff's gonna happen, I guess, because we had 10 retweets.
Oh no.
We'll see
well,
what they
I'm gonna-
are in a moment.
So how do rituals work? Can I just like, do I have to like?
Um, I'm not sure.
I'm just gonna use them when I want to.
I mean, it looks like most of them have a duration for how...
That's how long they last.
Yeah, that's how long they last.
Scout's not worried.
Oh, yes. You have to... Scrat's telling us you have to make a rhyme before you cast rituals. It has to literally be an incantation.
Wait, like I have to create a rhyme?
I can't rhyme. Like, hang on. Do I have to rhyme? Because I am literally that person that goes mat, bat, cat, lap. Like, that lap isn't even one of them.
I know, I'm like, I don't give a damn, I want to make some jam, but I feel like that's a slant rhyme.
It does, I don't think it has to rhyme. I think just make something like...
Yeah, I think
just
magical, something
make,
magical.
yeah, make an incantation for your incantations.
I will write a full incantation for my jam spell. So the next time I use it, I will have a full spell to cast.
The most wholesome spell. Oh my gosh.
But yeah, so it looks like they're as instant as any of your other spells. They just have a longer duration because they're a ritual.
Very good. All right. I mean, I'm good now.
Okay. So before I get into a bunch of stuff about the town and thing, yes, we can flip a coin, Scrat. I have a coin right here. Heads is Bree, tails is Alice. Bree gets the retweets.
I get the retweets. I don't know if that's a good thing.
Please roll a D100.
Me?
Yes.
Oh, Christ, I'm a cracker. 92.
92, Scrat. You know, I feel like this music is appropriate to show off my friend from my last campaign.
Oh, I love Ferret. Love Ferret.
Yep, he lives on my desk now.
Very good. My brother sent me a picture yesterday. He texted me a photo of my favorite stuffed toy from when I was 2.5. Apparently, he found it in my mother's attic and wanted to let me know. I used to have like 50 of them. I don't know if I can make it load, but it's just a worm with a like a big fluffy like white afro, and you could bend them to fit on things. So I put them up my arms and roam around the pre-K with stuffed worms. This is like a fun little hangout. Session 0.5 is a good little hangout. Hi chat, how is everyone doing today?
We should definitely describe what our characters look like in a bit as well. I'm down for that.
Yes, I want to go through which characters look like. I want to start getting into like who in the group their bond is with. Like, you don't have to get in real deep if you don't want to, especially if you have knives hidden in your backstory. But I feel like it's a good introduction to your characters and stuff. And now I got to figure out what to do with this thing I was just sent. We'll hold on to it for today. It might not come up till later.
Oh no.
Okay. So, Bree, what does Scout look like?
Okay. So, Scout is very young. She has very dirty kind of red hair. It's thin and straight, but it's always tangled up with branches and leaves. Normally you can't find her without dirt smudged all over her face. She's got big blue eyes and a face that normally speaks trouble. Her style is almost very like Japanese Mori girl with a lot of the very muted colors and a lot of layers. She's usually wearing various like leg warmers of like autumn colors, big either dresses or little shorts over these leggings. And she's always wearing a very large dark green cardigan with very big pockets full of herbs and or other things. And she likes to carry a stick around.
Does she
Normally
walk
seen
softly?
harassing little boys. She does not. She stomps, and she's pigeon-toed. So her toes kind of form inwards when she walks. And a lot of grandmothers think she's very sweet. They like to pat her on the head as she walks by. But all the little boys are definitely scared of her.
I love it. Do you want to talk about who your character has a bond with, or do you want to have Alice describe Harper first?
Have Alice describe Harper first.
Alice, what does Harper look like?
Harper is pretty short, and by that I mean she's my height, maybe an inch or so smaller. She has sort of raven-like hair, very, very dark hair, and she has, true style to David Bowie, a blue eye and a green eye as well, which sometimes gets her a slightly odd look as people give her a second glance. She's very, very pale skin with a couple of freckles. She tends to wear very simple clothing and lots of greens, sort of earthy colors. There's a couple of what looks to be maybe like a faded orange or mustard in there as it's all layered up, and a huge oversized coat. Thank you for that gift sub. A huge oversized coat which has two massive pockets in it, which look to be bursting with stuff.
Oh my gosh, we're pocket girls.
Pocket girls. Everyone, well, I can't have pockets in real life. I'll have them in game. And she's got very sort of high boots on with lots of different materials tied around them, almost forming shoelaces, even though they're not shoelaces. Bits of scraps of old material. You can hear her clank a little bit because of all the little wooden carvings and glass bottles that are actually tied to inside her coat. There is a very, very small knife, almost, it's just for carving most of the time, sort of slipped into her boot. Again, lots of, probably the only real bright material on her, a very bright yellow and red braid woven around the handle with some trinkets on the end of it. And she's got a smear of sort of red across her eyes, which is almost, it's berries. It's that sort of dark red. It's not very vivid. It's more pink than anything. And trotting by her side is her companion Kit, a small, very, very red fox that half the time actually walks in her coat and sort of pokes its head out every now and then, but they stride together pretty confidently. She has a huge shawl sort of strung over her shoulder, almost keeping this coat closed as the buttons for time ago. Again, you can hear that clanging around more big glass bottles and things like that, but you can definitely smell a lot of herbs, a lot of earthiness coming from that bag. Oh,
I love
and she
it.
has a scar running down her thumb to beneath her coat.
I just want to say I love both your characters already, and I want to protect them and make them happy, but also knives.
Yeah, knives. I need to draw them.
All right.
I need one to
So,
draw.
Bree, who of the group does Scout have a bond with?
So I haven't talked to her about it, but we did have a joke while we were in the Discord chat. So I've kind of forced this upon her, and because she's not here this week, she has to deal with it. I feel like she would have a connection with Juniper. Juniper is a little bit older. She's a little bit wiser. She's a farmer. And I feel like that she would spend a lot of time with Juniper just because Scout has a natural affinity for herbs and healing arts, and she also very much so loves all of Juniper's animals and wants to bury her face in them 24/7.
Nice.
More like the awkward kid sidekick that she got stuck with, which is literally what is happening for any awkward kid sidekick.
I love it. I'm sure she'll love it too. Okay, and then Alice, who does Harper have a bond with?
Harper will probably have a bond with Todd's character. I haven't spoken to him fully yet, obviously because he's have no internet, alright. But Harper travels a lot. She never tends to stay in one place for too long. She's about 27, 28 years old. Wherever she goes, she either makes a firm friend, well, not even like a friend, more like a connection, someone she knows she can trust in that location, or she'll screw something up and make an enemy. I'm just waiting to find out from Charlotte which one that's gonna be. So, because she plays one of the seasons and uses magic, it's something that she doesn't always have full control of, or at least when she does use it, it doesn't necessarily go the way she was planning it to go. And she might have seen Scout somewhere. I'm not sure. Does Scout travel?
Scout is easy to find. Scout's one of the kids that, like, she doesn't go too far because she is young. She doesn't go too far because her grandmother will get upset with her if she's gone for more days at a time than she should be, but she's often seen kind of like camping around and watching travelers come in and out, ambushing them, and then trying to trade like herbs for things like buttons and other various like.
Well, I have no buttons. As
she's like a corvid almost. She has the collection of strange little baubles and shiny things. And even though her grandmother doesn't let her travel with money, she's like, "Hey, look at this really shiny rock I found."
She probably like would have come in contact with Harper then, because Harper likes to find trinkets, keep hold of trinkets. That's the clanging you hear when she walks. It's all in her coats, but also she probably would have shown you she takes from her travels bits of wood or anything that's fallen. She won't snap anything off of a branch, but anything that has fallen she'll carve into maybe an animal, something she's seen. There tends to be a lot of foxes. Maybe she practices a lot by looking at Kit. You might have seen her one day literally sat in the woods. Probably some people might have looked at her and go like, "Oh, it's the weirdo from out of town," but she sits there and carves with that small knife before putting it back in her boot. And if you did look like a curious child, effectively, she probably would have used her magic a tiny bit and animated it slowly.
Oh
just
yeah,
to make
no,
it won't move much. It'd be like, say it was a horse, it would be the leg that comes up and shakes its head and back down again. It's very, very small, but would hold it out and probably gift you one if they'd seen you take an interest, because a lot of people don't tend to approach her so much.
Oh, and Scout would be all over it, and she'd probably leave something very strange in like response with it, like maybe like a horseshoe that she stole from Juniper's farm.
She'd definitely tie that to her satchel.
An old horseshoe. She just kind of like leave it there and walk away with the horse, put it in her cardigan pocket, go home and show her grandma, and her grandma will scold her for talking to strange adults again.
Harper probably would tell you not to speak to strangers as well, but there we go.
I think that then gives us the next question that I was going to ask. Scout, then I'm guessing, is from Bluefield, the starting village?
Yes.
And
Scout
Harper
was
is obviously not.
Harper has moved around a lot. It's not that she wasn't born in the village or anything like that. It's more that she's been on the road for so long. She once had someone traveling with her, but now she's she's older, she's on her own, and probably heading towards Bluefield.
Okay. So, what was Scout's life growing up in Bluefield then, Bree? I suppose if you're from Bluefield, I should tell you it's called that, because you would know.
Yes.
The town of Bluefield is known this because the wheat that they grow in the fields and the farmland is blue when it is ready to be harvested. And in fact, most of the products that use that wheat still maintain part of that color.
Very good. I think that Scout's life was probably one of those perpetually kind of too boring for her, so she had to make the excitement of it. She was raised by her grandmother. Her parents are no longer with her. She lost them at a young age, so it doesn't hurt. I have my grandma, it's okay. Living in a very small home, one of the there's no bedroom type homes. It's kind of just a living space that's shared. And now she's gotten a little bit older, into her teen years, she uses big quilts that her grandmother sews to separate her area. She's always had a tough time with other little kids because growing up with her grandmother, who's very mature and intelligent, and never really gave her that baby talk. She's always had kind of like a very big kid attitude, and all of the kids around her age never really quite understood her. So she spent more time running errands for her grandmother and talking to the adults and bullying the kids who didn't understand her. They were mean to her first, so she got mean back. She's a little bit tall for her age, a little bit awkward, and she'll be more often seen sharing a warm tea with an adult neighbor than their kids.
Okay, and does your grandmother have a name?
Yes, Scout's grandmother's name is Heather. Heather Ann. But she calls her Meemaw.
Awesome. What's one of Scout's favorite memories of growing up?
I think her favorite memory of growing up is when she was a very young girl. She got a very bad fever. And it was really scary for her and her grandmother for a while. But there was a strange old man who was traveling to Bluefield. And he came to the home and he offered a remedy for this in the form of like a warm tea or like a tincture for her. And it made the fever go away. And he left behind a scrap of paper with the ingredient lists and how to create this tincture for her. And ever since then, she's been fascinated with the art of being able to make people not sick anymore. So she holds on to that note and has spent her formative years learning other ways to make people not feel sick anymore.
Okay, has she managed to find all the ingredients and make that tincture herself?
That specific tincture requires one ingredient that you can only get when people are traveling to Bluefield because it's not natural to the area. So normally about once a year, she can have her grandmother and her buy a few of them, and then they work together during the winter season to help everyone who gets sick. But she can only really get the herb seasonally.
Excuse me while I write notes about all the things you're telling me. I want to be a good DM and keep notes of the things you're telling me.
I'm making it up as I go. Like I create
That's good.
I
love it. That's the best way to do it. Figure it out as you go.
So
surprise yourself when you learn things.
Bouncing ideas off of each other is honestly one of the best ways to do it.
Like, if I can talk and type at the same time, I don't know if I can. When we played Twilight Sands, I tried to be a very shifty, terrible, cowardly person, and he ended up a lot nicer than I really intended.
He was so
because
nice.
It's hard for me to not be nice, I guess.
It's one thing to roll up a character, it's another thing to role play with your fellow players.
Yeah.
I can be mean if I'm an NPC, but I can't if I'm an actual PC. Bree nods. This is the first time I've played with you, Bree.
I know!
I
I'm
know!
so excited.
Okay.
Oh, and I've come to the conclusion that every autumn, when it's time to harvest the blue field, all of the kids get together with the school and they all make flower crowns out of blue field, and it's a small festival for all the kids every year. That's a thing that happens.
Can I ask a question of Scout? Do you have any weird habits that make Scout Scout, if you see what I mean?
I'm trying to think. Scout's a weird kid. Scout's a weird kid who's strangely mature around adults, but very rotten around other kids. She's one of those kids that the little boy will go and run and tell his mom, like, mommy, Scout hit me with a stick again. And then the mom goes, Scout wouldn't act that way, darling. She's busy gathering herbs to
She's there in the corner, like
smacking the stick. She probably chews on her hair too, because it's long and messy, so when she's thinking, she just puts it in her mouth, and it's probably all gross and sticky, but she doesn't care. She's not out here to impress anyone. She's literally just living her very best little life. She's a little tall, a little gangly, and she does not want to be in Bluefield forever. Big talk of adventure, but has not gone farther than a place her old grandmother could walk to.
I mean, isn't that how all good adventures start out? Is you're stuck at home dreaming of the day, and then a
wizard comes and knocks on your door.
A wizard shows up with fireworks and drags you off to do stuff.
Carving signs on a perfectly painted door.
Yes, she loves horses in theory, but she's afraid of riding them. She got little legs. She knows how to use them.
Awesome. All right. So Alice, what are things that Harper remembers from their childhood?
Harper remembers a lot of walking, which sounds ridiculous, but going to all these different places, sort of standing behind the person who was taking them around, being told to watch them and learn from them, going from market to market, finding things in the forest, whether it's to carve something out of, or herbs to dry out, or anything in particular that could be worth something, whether it's making something of it or what it is itself, and taking it and selling it at lots of different places. She remembers the person who was taking her around with her, very charismatic. She sort of, her thing is, she knew she could never be as charismatic as that. He could sell anything. He made friends wherever he went. And she did not. She was almost seen as this bit of the weird kid that was attached to this merchant. And maybe a bit of a drag on this merchant, that sort of sometimes thought this person is either, this kid is going to prevent a sale or something to that effect. And she remembers just being in the forest, learning everything, things about mushrooms, things about different trees, things about different herbs, what to find, how to carve, when she first got given the knife. And there is also a time she remembers the smell of campfires when she would sleep outside all the time. and sort of looking up at the trees, looking up at the stars, having that real sort of smell of damp earth when it has rained in the forest after a storm. And probably one part of her childhood, when she gets to about the age of 12, maybe 13, she remembers going to sleep one night, and when she woke up, she was on her own. The person she was supposed to be traveling with was no longer there.
I want to protect her so much, but also knives. It's that meme where look at my brand new CD. I want to love them and protect them, and knife backstory. All right. So that's a sad memory. What is one of her best memories from growing up?
There were two. In particular, is sitting with the man she traveled with when he showed her how to carve things, when he gave her his first knife, effectively, and how she would go around some of the markets, and she got scolded once for stealing. She didn't quite clock that it was stealing, because she would go to market stalls and just tear like the trimmings and the ends off of pretty materials, not thinking much of it, and just tying it around her boots or her wrists or her now new knife. And another sort of sad but happy memory was sitting around a fire at night, and probably the day, I won't go into too much detail on how she found Kit, because she'd been alone for about 2 years, maybe 3 years, until she found Kit. And Kit was only a cub at that.
Okay. Okay, I think we will. I'm going to ask a couple of questions about Bluefield and things you might know, because you're going to help me flesh it out, because I want to incorporate that from other shows I've watched. I like getting the group to be like, who's this person? What do they do? That kind of stuff. And then I think after we do that, we'll probably move into our break that we are going to do, since we're about at the halfway point. So Bluefield it's not large, but it's not small either. It's one of the main stops on like one of the main roads, and as such, the town has let's see. I don't know if it's got more than one inn, but definitely there's like the one inn on the main road that everyone knows of. And connected to this inn is a bakery. And the bakery is run by Hazel Pendragon. Her husband runs the inn. What is the name of the inn and bakery?
Are they two separate names, or is it?
Could go either way.
Well, I feel like because most of the wheat is blue, most of the
Be blue
bread
something.
would be blue. Yeah, like Bluebell or blue.
I was gonna say Bluebell, but not as in the
Right, but then I
plant,
was
as in yeah.
like Bluebell, and then they can have little blue wind chimes sitting out the front with little bells on them. And that's how they get their little name, little blue bells chime when you come and get your little bread. And
So Bluebell Inn and Bakery?
Yeah.
Okay. What does Hazel Pendragon look like? Because you obviously Scout would have met her living in town, but being that this is one of the main places to get bread, Harper probably would have seen Hazel as well. So what does Hazel look like?
I think Hazel is very motherly looking. You know, that sort of fairly short, very round, sort of takes no nonsense, in an apron, hands on hips most of the time. Hair's definitely pulled up into a bun that's kind of fallen. Bits of it of her hair. It's not neat. Basically,
no,
it's
salt
not
and
neat
peppery
at all.
almost at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely the only adult that will call Scout out on her shit because it's bigger than a big stick, a big rolling pin.
Mm-hmm. Which is tucked into the apron half the
time. Oh yeah. And she's warm, and when it's wintertime, she lets the kids who are roaming around come sit inside by the big fire in the bakery. As long as
they get like the rolls that aren't perfect, the ones that are different.
Rolls.
Yeah, they get ugly rolls. She calls them her ugly little misshapes. Thank you, Ken. The little misshapes. Thank you, Ken.
All the little misshapes in town, all the little roughhouse kids, Scout and her little gang of rabble rousers, come get some misshapes.
I think Harper's been in there before. Probably buys 2 if they're warm and puts them in her pockets. Sort of half holds them and half eats them.
I love it. I would have never come up with that. That's why I love doing this. What is Hazel's husband's name? What is Mr. Pendragon's first name?
George.
I mean, George is good. George Pendragon. Hazel and George. And I feel like he's more, sternly built. He's less of like a rotund gentleman like his bakery wife.
You know, like in Ghibli, Kiki's Delivery Service, I'm now thinking of the couple that run that bakery, where the guy is a very sort of big, silent type,
the
very
big
broad
dude.
Shoulders. He's really big, but he's
almost
sweetie.
Never says anything.
He never says anything, but you know he's a real sweetheart. And if all the kids are scared of him, but if it came to it, he's
way more
kind.
Serious looking, but you should be more scared of his wife.
Yeah. He just looks scary to the kids. However, he's actually far softer, and he would sneak them free bits if they came close enough because they're too scared.
Oh yeah. He keeps licorice or something. Oh no, taffy. He likes taffy and he keeps it in a bowl by the check-in area. And he's
so tall that when he walks out the door, he hits the wind chimes every single time.
Every time.
And you can hear him come in because you hear that sort of like that grunt, like in the grumble as he does, and that jingle of the wind chimes.
I love it so much. Also, I'm not gonna lie, when I first thought of the bakery, I thought of that bakery specifically.
Oh, I didn't until that.
Yep, I did. I was like, Walks into the wind chimes.
You know, gets caught up in it, like.
Yeah, tangled in it. And he doesn't want to break them, though, because his wife adores the wind chimes. She thinks they're so good.
He probably made them for her, like, years and years ago.
Yes. Oh my gosh, she's got big, gentle hands that make wind chimes, and he loves taffy.
Yeah.
Saltwater taffy that travelers bring in, and he always buys way too much.
Yeah. He's a sucker for, like, kids selling candy at the door.
Always. He's got the massive sweet tooth, but kids are always afraid to sell candy to him.
He just lurks in the background, gets his wife to do it for him as he waits behind the counter.
Honey, please.
At the back, 3 boxes. 3 boxes.
Okay. I love it. I love it so much. I can picture it all in my head as you two are describing it. What other important buildings are in the town?
There's a schoolhouse. There's a lot of kids in Bluefield. This is a very nice area for people to raise children. It's very simple, not very hustle and bustle. Everyone knows each other. There's a little schoolhouse that everyone has gone to school there at Bluefield. It's a place where Scout's grandmother has gone, her parents went to, and now she goes to. The teacher is young, and she's not from Bluefield. She is a very soft, dark-haired woman who wears very simple, like, cotton dresses. And it's where all the kids will sit and learn, and she'll take them on walks and teach them about the world outside of the school, as well as arithmetic and all of that.
Okay. Alice, what is this teacher's name at the schoolhouse?
The only problem is I've now got an image in my head that she's like Miss Honey. So I'm trying to think. I actually kind of want to say Jennifer. So it's like Jennifer Honey.
So her name is Jennifer Honey. Okay, I love it.
And she definitely, I don't think she has like any kids of her own. She doesn't have anything like that. Like the school kids are her kids.
Oh yeah, she moved to Bluefield because of how nice it is. It's like a city to Bluefield, and she's surrounded by children.
It's one of those schools that has those really awesome playgrounds where they've kind of just let the kids do whatever they want with it. So there's like a makeshift tree house, somewhere like a den or something. Someone's got the chalk and drawn it out on the.
There's also a small garden where kids will get things for like snack time.
Yep.
Yeah, I forget, I was reading an article a couple weeks ago about like the new playgrounds where you just let the kids do whatever. It seemed really interesting of like, I mean, because just let the kids do whatever. They got to learn somehow.
I mean, we kind of had that when I was growing up. It was weird when I went to a bigger school. I was like, what is this?
Yeah. Okay. So we have a schoolhouse and a teacher. So let's flip the question this time. And so Alice, this time give me a building and maybe a person. And then Bree, you'll give me who this person is. Like their name, like Alice did for the school teacher.
Okay. I think there's an odd bod shop where you get everything you need, but it's one of those shops that you're not too sure what it does sell, but you know when you walk in there, whatever you need is going to be in there. It's the random little bits. It's like a corner shop, so it's really packed in. You've got loads of like shelves, it's all stacked, it's all higgledy-piggledy. You don't necessarily, it's like you'd walk in there and you wouldn't be able to find what you were looking for, but there's a little old man that shuffles around at the back where if you tell him what you want, he will produce a ladder and he will get whatever it is you need, whether it's random. Like there's some like sort of household items in there, but then you'll find something that's really just odd. Or there's like a section of the shop that has like where he sells cheese and meats and things like that as well, but on the other side of the shop, everything else. And he's got like graying hair. He's a very, very short guy, and he's always in not an apron, but like an overcoat for it.
Awesome. I can picture that already. All right, then, Bree, what is this short old man's name?
His name is Arthur. And every once in a while, Arthur's son and his son's husband that come to visit, and they usually come with strange things from their travels that he puts in the shop. And Arthur has photos or sketches of his son and his son's husband all over the back wall. and then one simple little photo that he keeps on his on the front area of his wife, his deceased wife.
And he definitely sells miniature wind chimes to people that come through.
100% though.
Okay. It's a little early to be at the halfway point, but I think this is a good spot to maybe run our break.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we come back, maybe we'll get into some actual role playing for the last half. Does that sound good with everyone?
Very good.
Sounds good for me. Sounds good for me. Yeah, we will be back in just a moment. See you in a bit. Have we not actually faded?
I don't think we faded.
Hang on.
We're learning.
Let's have a look.
Are you there, Scrot? It's us. Confused.
Hang on.
While we wait, thank you everyone for the gift subs, the bits, the retweets. We really appreciate everyone coming to hang out with us for our session 0.5. It's been very nice having everyone hang out with us. Make sure you check out all of Scrat's sponsors. Make sure you give everyone a follow. We're super grateful to have you all here on this wonderful Wednesday for the most wholesome game ever. Maybe if you're bored, check out Alice's Patreon. Check out Alice's Patreon, the White Rabbit Pick Patreon for all of her photography and other amazing things. Please check it out and support Alice because we love her so much. Also, hi Mackenzie, I love you.
So much, all the love back.
I love you, Mackenzie.
So I think we're going to go to a break now, and we now will be back in just a moment. See you in a minute.
love you so much.
Oh, hi.
I guess we're back, judging by everything that's going on. Okay. What is a good song for this? Okay. Do a Hans here and just let this build for a second.
I love
Hi,
it's called
Hans.
Do the Hans.
Do the Hans.
Do
I
the
love
Hans.
Hans so much.
He's probably gonna get lots of call outs in this game.
Good.
Okay. I think we're gonna start with Scout. Scout, it's early. You know you probably don't have to get out of bed for another hour before your grandma will come tell you it's time to get started with your day. But something about today seems different. You don't know if it's in the air or what, but you think that something's going to happen today.
Get my adventuring boots on today. Scout always has this mindset. Whenever she thinks something good is going to happen, she always has to take the time to prepare for it. It's the only time she ever brushes her hair, when she thinks something big is going to happen. So she'll take the time, use her wooden brush, brush out her long red hair. She'll put on tights, a pair of leggings, and then leg warmers. Even though it might be a little bit on the warm side for that, she's always ready. Doesn't often carry clothes with her. Puts on an undershirt, a regular shirt, a dress, and then her big cardigan. Pulls her hair up in a tight knot and ties into her favorite boots. Loads them up, and where the ties should be are just little buttons that don't match, and she kind of buttons them in because she loves buttons. She'll go in and she'll start shoving things into her cardigan pocket. She has a little backpack, but she doesn't use it very often. She'll walk over where her grandmother is, see what she's made for breakfast, wrap it up in a cheesecloth, and just look at her. Mima, it's the day. This is an adventure day, and I know it.
She smiles at you, and maybe in a what's the word? Not in like a patronizing way, but in a, you say this often, that today's the day, it's an adventure day, and she's just like, okay, love.
I promise I will bring you back something very nice, a good treasure.
I know you will.
All right. Don't hit any kids. Don't talk to strangers that look dangerous. And don't walk behind a horse.
And don't get so far out of town that you can't be back for dinner.
Back for dinner. She'll clap her hands together, and then she'll put her hands on her grandmother's cheeks. And she'll just kind of squish her little old lady cheeks. I love you.
I love you too. Have fun.
She'll bounce up and she'll just kind of wrap up the food, because in her mind, sitting to eat is not something you do on an adventure. You pack the meal with you in a little cheesecloth, and her grandmother always leaves them on the table for the days that her granddaughter must go adventure. So she wraps it up and she just kind of scurries outdoors to see what the world has to offer.
Okay. On days that Scout has decided are adventure days, where's the first place she goes after leaving home?
Well, in her mind, she has to prepare. So she'll make her way around. She'll say some goodbyes to people. She'll go to the kind of general shop, say goodbye to Arthur. She doesn't know if Arthur ever actually remembers her or not because he's so old. She'll always come in there and be like, if this is the last time I see you, Arthur, take care of yourself.
I feel like he's probably I feel like Arthur's the kind of person where he's always working if the store is open.
Oh.
And so he's never like facing her, but it's always, yes, take care. Mm-hmm.
And she'll head out without getting anything because she doesn't have money. And apparently he won't give her things without money. We've had the discussion many times before. She'll go to the schoolhouse. She'll slide a note under the door that says like, hey, Teach, you're doing a real good job. Maybe you should get out more. Love you, Scout. And I'm sure the teacher has a desk full of notes similar to these. And they're always very polite, but they're also trying to tell her how to live her life better. Just like, you've got this, Teach, but maybe lose the cotton dresses. It's always something. It's always a double-edged. And when it comes to the inn, she likes to try and like crawl in the front doors like a little sneaky ninja to try and steal taffy from George, because he's scary. She'll always crawl in very obnoxiously, whether there's patrons in the front, whether his wife is there, or whether he is there. She likes to crawl into the front doors of the inn to try and get like a fistful of taffy, because a snack, taffy, and then like rations, it's all she needs to adventure out into the world in her mind.
Okay. I think just to see how well Scout does, I would like you to roll a stealth under your checks.
Okay.
Ooh.
Wow. She's done this so often. Like she watches out for the wind chimes. She pushes the door ever so slightly so nothing jangles. And she kind of crawls in. She's very thin and she'll like side army crawl. And it's a whole thing. Like there's always one person who spots her, but it's usually like like a visitor from out of town who knows not to say anything. So like, weird kid from town, none of my business.
Yeah, and I think I think Scout has the routine down, because even though George runs the inn, he does help with the bakery. And so Scout knows that this is the time this gets done baking, and he goes and does this, and he's not here watching. Yeah, and you can take anything that you need to go adventuring with you.
She takes one fistful, and her hands aren't very big, so it's only like 6 or 7 pieces. She's thought about taking the bowl before, but she has watched George eat the taffy and knows that he also likes the taffy. So she only takes what she thinks she needs, a taffy a day for a whole week. That's pretty much an adventuring meal right there.
Yeah. Okay. I think as Scout snags the taffy and shoves it in her pocket, because that's what you said, you only have your big cardigan pockets.
Yeah, like backpacks are so worthless. Pockets are good. She wears like 50 layers. Everything has to have at least one pocket somewhere, even if they're like patched on. Her grandmother does sew quilts and other like men's clothes for a living. So if she needs extra pockets, her grandmother will just kind of sew them like on leggings or on dresses or on shirts just randomly.
Mm-hmm. So whether or not she's wearing it now, does Scout have like a dress that's got multicolored patchwork pockets on it that her grandma made?
100%. It's a very muted, very simple kind of like dark brown kind of tree color dress, but with random patches sewn on from like remaining quilt scraps. Because she'll come back with like weird buttons and like nails and other things and run out of pocket space. So at nighttime, her grandmother will just hand sew a new pocket on for when she wakes up.
All right. And once you have everything you need to go adventuring, is there a favorite spot that you go to?
I think this is probably where she's come to find Juniper in the past. She likes to go where the animals are, where the fields are, because the hustle and bustle of the town is very much so one thing, And the forest is another thing. But I think she probably always goes to like the farm first, kind of see if there's any adventuring to be had. If there's a big stick lying around, or like a walking stick that people use, or something like that. She likes to borrow people's walking sticks because they're normally perfectly formed. She usually asks, but she always returns them. So it's usually not too big of a deal. So she'll go around where the farmers are, pet their goats, and steal a stick.
That's good that you brought that up, because I will say that if you happen upon a Ryujin or familiar shrine, they're small dragon shrines and their hands are held out, and travelers will leave walking sticks in them. And it's the polite thing to do if you borrow one to someday return one, even if it's to a different statue.
Oh, well then definitely that's her life. Her life is borrowing walking sticks. And I'm sure there's like 2 or 3 shrines in the general region of where she's allowed to walk.
Mm-hmm.
So she's probably swapped them out hundreds of times, and she probably knows where a shrine is near the farmers, because she does love to pet goats. They make the weird bleeding noises, and that's Scout's favorite thing, when they bleed at her, because she likes to make the noise back.
I love it. So I think we'll cut away from Scout there, leaning up maybe against a railing, watching the animals at the farm, waiting for Juniper to arrive. And we'll go to Harper. Harper, where are you staying in town? Are you staying within the town or outside of town?
She hasn't really... Sometimes she stays in town if the weather's cold, like when it gets too cold, but as long as she can handle it, she sleeps outside. She feels strange if she sleeps inside, and normally when she does sleep inside, she'll rent a room at an inn and unroll her bedroll and still sleep on the floor. And half the time, Kit actually hops on the bed and sleeps on the bed if he gets shoved out of like during in the night of the sleeping bag. But she's probably actually... What is the weather like? Is it cold or is it?
It's sunny, but yeah, it's on the colder side. It's not... I'm trying to figure out. It's, you know, it's that
Spring,
mid...
Right? Or is it summer? What season are we in?
I don't know. What season are we in?
Day 4.
Yeah.
Depends. It'll determine how wet it is in the morning when it's cold.
Let's say it's mid-autumn.
Okay, mid-autumn, she'd probably still be outside. She would sleep in her coat and everything when it comes to that. But she'd wake up, she's probably either found a patch either in a forest, or if there is a field and there's just like where you get the one big tree in the field, she's asleep underneath that. But she'll probably wake up, have fairly early, because it'll be that bleary eyed being woken up by the sun coming up sort of thing. And Kit will probably be snuggled probably on her chest, like in the sleeping bag as well, so they both keep each other warm. And she'll wake up and probably scratch his head, scratch behind the ears, probably say something along the lines of, "We haven't got many more evenings outside this year," and will reach into her satchel, and whether it's Bluefield, probably from the Bluefield bakery, has pulled out some of the bread and probably got some other things from Arthur's shop, and just starts, whatever she has, she breaks it in half. Half of it goes to Kit, half of it goes to her, and she will sit there and she will probably enjoy just everything before the fields get busy.
Yeah, I think as the sun starts to rise higher, Harper sees like the first few early risers head out to the fields, and slowly more people show up to start working, especially because if it's mid-autumn, it's probably pretty close to harvest now. So also that means like you're seeing these just fields awash in this blue, and it's not a soft blue, it's like a proper sapphire, like a proper sapphire blue. Like there's so much blue in the wheat that it's very dark in places. Whereas like the bread you have at that point, it's mixed enough with other things that it's a lot more of a muted and soft blue. Let's see. I think, Harper, you also feel something about today being different. Maybe
I think what she would do if she felt like there was something different, she probably sits there for a bit. She takes a moment to listen. She takes a moment to smell the air, and she watches Kit to see if Kit does anything in particular. And I think there's a moment where she just tries to listen to the world around her to see if it's something like that that's giving her this weird feeling. But if it doesn't, she just sort of gets up. She does that really big stretch that she stands all the way up on her toes, stretches all the way up to the sky, and starts just rolling up her pack. And there's 2 belts in the bottom of her satchel, which she attaches the sleeping bag to at the time.
I think that nothing's immediately apparent as to what could make the day different. I want to say it's almost like when you can smell that first snow on the air, but it's not, a change in weather. It's something else, something that you can't quite place. Let's see. And I think as you're packing up your pack, you notice a slight commotion in one of the fields. It looks... Go ahead.
No, she just sort of pauses and looks over, like stops, and just probably from above where the wheat stops, just see this head like pop up to have a look and see what on earth is going on.
Yeah, I think she would notice that rather than being arrayed in whatever the normal pattern that she's seen the workers walk through the field in, there's a couple of workers clustered together, not close enough that she can really hear she can hear them talking, but not that she can necessarily hear what's being said. But I'd like you to go ahead and roll a perception check to see if you can notice anything else.
Ooh.
Wow.
The first, yeah.
The first 2 rolls are critical successes.
Hell yeah.
Super keen.
Okay. So you notice these 3 workers clustered together, and in one of their hands is a bundle of wheat. And this wheat should be blue, as you'd expect. But this bundle is dotted with black. And you can see that one of the 3 workers is very concerned, and one of them is like doing like the everyone needs to stay calm kind of talk. And I think then they move through the field towards whatever the closest building is. And has Harper seen anything like this before?
Harper is sort of looking down at Kit, back at this wheat that has now changed. It's like, I think it's happening here too. And she tries to push through a lot of this wheat. She doesn't want to be spotted exactly, like she's not charging towards them, but she is making her way to at least see if she can see, almost to confirm something for herself.
Okay. I think the people nearby are distracted enough that I won't require you to roll a stealth unless you want to be particularly sneaky. If you're just moving normally, I think they've got enough.
She might try and be particularly sneaky.
Okay.
Well, let's see if we get another crit.
We did not.
No.
Close though.
That still seems pretty good. So yeah, I think that the three workers closest to her are the ones off discussing what's going on. And so I think Lee notices the wheat moving abnormally outside of like the gentle breeze that's blowing. And it doesn't take you long to come to the spot where you saw the three of them gathered, and there's very obviously a small swath of wheat having been cut from the field.
Can I see any more bits of wheat with the black sort of specks on it, or?
Yeah, I think you can see pieces that have fallen to the ground from the bundle that they were holding.
Yeah, Harper sort of, again, she's so used to talking to Kit because it's the only companion she has most of the time. She says, just keep an ear out, and sort of pulls out from one of the many sort of side pockets in this massive coat just a small, like, glass jar with a fork stopper. She doesn't really want to touch it fully, so she sort of gets her knife and just sticks it in this wheat and puts it in this jar and seals it very, very quickly, but almost like out of paranoia, she pulls out this piece of, again, shred of material she ties from around her boot and starts wrapping it up around it and putting it back in the pocket before trying to move away again. Again, not seen, but trying to move away.
Okay. I won't make you roll a second time. I think that was good enough. With all of that having happened, is there anywhere Harper would like to head to?
I think she'd just be going to get out the field at the moment because it's unnerving her that there's this, whatever this is, in the field, and she's probably moving quite quickly, making sure Kit is by her side at all times, not eating anything, not touching anything, not doing anything like that. Probably trying to find a fence and climb over it to get the other side.
So I think that's a good point where Scout, you spot Harper climbing over a fence on the other edge of the farm you're at. And she's obviously coming from within the field itself.
Is she crossing the fence where the animals are?
Do I run into a goat?
Yes, let's say yes.
So the goat that she's currently having a very intense bleat off with, she looks to him. She's like, "Little James, we have company." And she'll throw herself over this fence, or she'll probably like slide kind of in between the rails because she's pretty small. She's like, "Come on, James. This is the adventure we were waiting for." And she'll kind of just really confidently march, like hands kind of tucked into the cardigan, and she's just marching her way towards Harper. Not entirely sure who she is from this distance, but she got a stick in one hand, and she's not using it as a walking stick. She's just marching.
Okay, I think Harper, as you've got one leg over like the top of the fence, you're stuck halfway over the top of this fence, and you spot a person in a large sweater holding a stick, marching very determinedly towards you.
She sort of like half over, pauses, and looks in your direction, and Kit has sort of climbed up her arm and sat Bigfoot sat across her shoulders rather than jumping over himself. But she pauses midway and thank you for the bits, and looks over and sort of squints a little bit, And she just under her breath like, I recognize that walk anywhere. Okay. And starts like tries to get off the other side just to stabilize
And as she's
herself.
marching, Scout just shouts, "Heart! Who goes there?"
And there's just a hand raised, almost like she's not good with groups of people. And she just holds up her hand, both her hands, it's like, I mean no harm, almost in the kiddie way that Scout shouts at her. Neither of us do, right? And looks to Kit, who just probably lays down.
She'll get close and she'll stomp her, smash the little stick into the ground and look directly at Harper because they're probably at the same height right now. You've gotten smaller, traveling lady.
You have gotten bigger, strange child.
Why are you in the wheat fields?
Why do you have a goat?
Oh, this is James.
Sort of looks down at this goat that's like chewing or something. I guess it's like James, right? Okay, shouldn't have asked. I am traveling. I am, that thing I do. I'm collecting, selling things, and she sort of almost absentmindedly pulls her sleeve over her hand where her thumb was, where there is a small scar, sort of just absentmindedly, almost wrapping it up. That's a big stick.
It's an adventure day. It makes sense. Traveling lady comes to the village again on an adventure day, and she smacks the stick again onto the ground for extra she's got
Emphasis.
A hand on one hip.
You see Harper physically flinch for a moment. She's not used to being around a lot of people.
Scout's head goes into the air. It's a sign.
A sign?
We're going on an adventure. Can you smell it? Can you feel it? And she raises her hands into the air
I can smell something. But it's I was actually going into the village adventure day. Yeah, why not? Fine, you can have an adventure day if you want. Every day's an adventure day when you're
every
a merchant.
day. I want to be a merchant when I grow up. And she kind of just says it kind of in a really frustrated way. She pats her stick on the ground.
You could be a merchant. What would you sell? And she sort of sits herself, tucks that long coat underneath her and now sits on the side of this fence as this child stamps a stick at her.
She leans the stick against the side of the railing next to her and starts emptying out pockets. And she starts pulling things out. One is a pocket full of buttons, and then here's a few stray coins that she's gotten from underneath things in her home. She's patting some more. She pulls out a few small dolls made out of hay, little dolls strung together. And then she starts pulling out all the healing herbs and a few gauze wraps with a healing medicine in them. She sets them down. She's searching some more, and she pulls out a little wooden horse. Oh, well, I can sell healing things. And she kind of tucks the horse back in.
So you kept it?
It's cool. No one else can do that around here.
And you see Harper sort of adjust herself slightly. And she can't help but look down at her coat where there's these 4 big buttons missing. She's like, okay, if you are going to be a merchant, how much are you selling those buttons for? I just need 4.
She squats down and she starts looking at the buttons.
Which ones would you bear to part with?
And she's holding them up to your jacket. And there's a big white one with little green speckles in them, and she puts it down. There's one that looks like it's almost made out of a copper material. And she starts pulling them through, and she picks out a button in the shape of a ladybug. And then a little pink button with a little daisy painted on the inside. And she pulls out the copper button with it. And then she pulls out a dark green button. She holds them forward.
That's a good choice. You know your stuff. And she sort of holds out. What do I owe you for it?
I can't go on an adventure without a grown-up. So you have to tell my grandma that I can go on adventures with you.
With me?
Day. It's Adventure Day, you already said. And she picks up her stick. You're already holding the buttons and you can't take it back.
Adults don't tend to like me too much. I don't know if you've noticed that before.
I get along with all adults, but adults don't listen to me when it says going into the woods. You're the most adult person out of the two of us. I tried using James once, but she told me to stop stealing goats.
And like Harper pauses, suddenly realizing she is the adult in this situation. She's like, oh gosh. Wait. So you want me to tell your grandmother, Mima, I'm sorry, yeah, for exchange for buttons, that you're coming on an adventure with me?
Precisely. That's how Marchant works.
You know, it is, but this could also look like kidnap. I'm just saying.
No,
requested kidnap, but it's still kidnap.
Mima told me if anyone kidnapped me, they would return me.
I mean, someone told me the same thing, but that's not the point. I tell you what, I'll come with you, but don't you dare leave me with your grandmother.
Okay. Mima's bigger than you anyways, so you should be careful.
Yeah, everyone's bigger than... Anyway, we should probably leave James here.
Yes.
If you want to, you know, make your grandmother more likely to... I mean, if I rock up with you and a goat, it could produce some form of... I don't know. Oh, this is awful. How have I managed to end up like this? Leave the goat here. We'll go and talk. You sew the buttons on as well.
I can do that.
Okay, right. What am I doing? And she sort of goes, come on, and starts saying, Kit, faster, and starts walking towards the village.
And Scout is like power marching next to her, very like, this is the day. This is my day.
And you could just hit Harper like, oh my gosh, oh, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? This is not good. You feel that she's a very nervous individual.
And Scout has the confidence of 1,000 men.
Only the confidence of someone that age can have.
Right.
So Scout, while you were digging through your pockets, looking for things that you could sell to become a merchant, there's something you don't remember picking up. You find a small mushroom the color of burnt orange, like when the leaves have started to change in the autumn.
What does it smell
sniff that. Like, you don't know where it's come from.
It smells like cinnamon.
It smells like cinnamon.
It's sort of like checking her pupils.
Scout just licks it once.
Oh gosh, okay. Look, if we could just like...
You're right, I should not poison myself before we meet with Mima. Last time I poisoned myself, she was very cross.
You shouldn't poison yourself regardless. But anyway, we can learn this on the adventure. That's us to keep walking.
Adventure. Have you poisoned yourself on an adventure before?
I mean, you learn by doing the wrong thing, so I guess yes. But I'm here so you don't have to do that.
Ah, yes.
Learn
that means you're the wise one.
I'll take it. And continues to walk.
And Scout just says under her breath, the wise old crone.
And it turns around like, watch it. I am not that old. Do you speak to your grandmother like that?
Oh no, she's scarier than you are.
Respect your elders. Like, points at herself and keeps marching.
So does Harper know where Scout's house is?
No, She's just walking, almost like trying to not get away from the situation, but just walk away from. She wants to be leading, so it doesn't look like she's following Scout.
It's left.
I'm going left. Sort of makes a very abrupt left and then walks. Hit your other left. Just keeps going.
And it is a small home. It's a very small home, but just when you approach it, you can smell the warmth as you approach. Something is always cooking at Mima's house. Stew for the night normally, something warm, something very tasty. You can see hanging over the curtains, instead of curtains, it's quilts, and in the front lawn she hangs the laundry, which is just various fabrics and clothes. And whereas she dresses a lot more normally, you can see all of the little, like an entire string of just dirty and patched up leggings and tights from all the time Scout has knocked herself over. A little rocking chair in the front, with little pillows.
And Harper sort of like goes to, it's sort of half looking back, half looking forwards, gets tangled in one of the washing line things, one of the sheets that come down, before trying to look like a sensible adult again, because she doesn't normally have to adult. Straightens sort of up her coat as she stood by the door. You see it sort of round her shoulders a little bit. She takes out this small mirror, which looks to be almost completely perfect. Like, it looks polished. It looks like this is well looked after. Looks at her hair, and sort of you can see that blue and the green in her eyes, each one a different color, for a moment, as she tries to make her hair look suitable and half neat to go in, as she sort of takes a deep breath. Oh, okay, and knocks on the door. You're muted.
Yep. When Harper knocks on the door, Scout, do you wait or do you barge in because it's your home?
Scout is going to stand studiously beside Harper, like kind of like slightly behind, stick on one hand and the arm on her shoulder, looking off into the distance.
You see Harper physically do this, like at the door, like look off to the side.
All right. It doesn't take long for the door to open, and Scout's Mima is standing there. Scout, I don't believe, Bree, that you described what your Mima looks like for us.
Okay, so Mima she's very average in build, not rotund and warm, but not very spindly and thin. She looks like a woman who has kind of had to take up that bearing of taking care of a child at a young age, or at an elderly age. She has long white hair that is kind of thick and coarse that she ties up into a messy bun, where she keeps actually crochet needles through them, and that's how she holds it up. She wears a very simple, plain kind of sweater and pants. She does wear a small apron, and it has very small sewing pieces in there. You can see the little sewing ball with the needles sticking out. She's probably wearing mittens of sorts as she's handling the hot food. She's very warm looking, very kind. You can tell she's in her later years, but something about the shine in her eyes shows that she refuses to actually age. And she probably hates me, Mom, but she went with it. She's probably one of those grandmothers who'd be like called Grandma Heather, but it's not what she got.
Yeah.
When the door opens, Harper's like, good morning, evening, Miss, Mom, Mima, Madam, like, starts to panic. It's, good morning, ma'am.
I think you're greeted with a smile, because I feel like Mima's a warm person, so she
with
smiles.
The patience of a saint. The only patience that could raise a scout.
Harper
Specifically
doesn't know,
this scout.
Like, Harper doesn't know. She's just like, your child, she left the goat the goat isn't here. But Adventure Day, merchant.
Mima, I am going to go under the wing of a professional merchant who is going to show me what it is like to be an adventurer. She is a grown-up adult who can rent her own taverns, and she has a fox that she keeps alive, so you know she's good at keeping things alive. She stomps the little stick onto the ground. She's a whole adult.
This fox is like looking around from underneath the coat, which Harper just sort of closes around both again. What the child said.
I won't be home for supper.
Well, where will you go?
We will wander the adventurous surroundings. Harper just never plans anything, so it's very. But I can have her back here in time for bed. Time for bed. We have time for bed. Yeah, in time for bed. That's what we're gonna do. I don't know where we're going. I won't take her far. It's fine. Is there anything I shouldn't? Is there anything I should know about her? Like allergies or weird tics or, kill me in my sleep? Like
I'm allergic to nuts.
What kind of child is this? Is she's allergic to nuts? Oh, she's got good hearing. Okay. Is that okay?
I think she looks from Harper to Scout and back for a moment. In time for bed.
Yeah. What time is that? Like dark or?
I never sleep. I'm an adventurer, and she's just marching in circles now.
Yeah. Is it? Well, what time would you normally lock her in her room?
Dark is fine.
Dark. Okay. We will go back at dark. Like it's sort of. Okay. Thank you. Me, Marv. Like, and does like a really weird bow and turns and looks to you. Is like, well, come on then. You've got some buttons to sew on.
Yes, buttons. Mima, can I take I need to get the mini kit. I forgot the mini sewing kit, and she kind of goes under Harper's arm and kind of squeezes through, starts slamming things around. She takes like a spoon and like a silver spoon, stuffs it in her pocket, like a locket, and puts it in there. And she's like shoving as many things that she all of her weird trinkets that she owns, a few rocks, and she's just like piling them into her pockets until she finds the sewing kit. I'm ready to be a merchant.
I think Mima just watches as you do all that, because there's nothing she can say that's really going to stop you. And I think as Scout tries to head back out the door, I think Mima's hand just touches you lightly, and she just makes sure to have your attention, and she goes, "Remember, the forest is dangerous, and so is the river."
Don't worry, I will keep Harper safe. And then she pulls Mima in for a really tight hug.
She hugs you back.
And Scout is beaming. She still has dirt on her face, and you don't know when the dirt was there. You can see even just peering into the room, there's a big wash basin in this area where you think Scout probably spends a lot of her time. But there's only so much that between Mima and her that can happen. Just a small patch of dirt and her big freckly smile as she looks up to her Mima, who is pretty tall. She's a tall, powerful grandmother.
Yeah, and I think Mima just hugs you and says, "Have a good adventure, dear."
I will. I will come back with new treasure for the house. And she looks around at all the weird things plastered onto the walls.
That are all Scouts found them.
Yeah. It's like a weird chain restaurant, like a local chain restaurant where they kind of just put things on the walls because they can put things on the walls.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like Scout's very much the, I found this. I don't know what it is, but you need to display it because I found it.
Oh yeah, like she's probably found like an axle type thing from like an old cart that she spent hours dragging home. Like by the time she gets to the house, she's like sitting on the ground and inchworming it back. Like, I don't know what this is, Mima, but I found it.
This is too real. This is my childhood when I dragged that rock a mile and a half over.
Okay. Yeah, and then so she lets you go on your adventure. I think as the door closed, Harper even gets a wave and a smile.
Like, and there's that awkward, like, wave back, not really sure what to do. And she sort of turns around like a heavy sigh, hands in pockets, looks down at Kit, is like, right, adventure day, yeah, like let's do this. Did you have anything in mind, or what is it you
You're the merchant. Show me what you do.
I mean, okay. Then we shall head this way, and points like in a direction back towards where like there looks to be like a wood. If there's like a river or wood or something, she'll probably head in that direction and probably marching a bit more, sort of trying to confidently walk themselves. And we'll head off in that direction. So at the beginning of the day, after I've eaten breakfast, I go and see if I can find anything to, rocks. Let's go find some rocks. We'll find some rocks, and then we're gonna find some wood and shells. That the stuff you get in the. I'll show you. This way, and continues back until she finds like a river or something to that effect.
Just don't fall in. The river's dangerous.
Yeah. No, I thank you. Very well thought of.
Mima told me to keep you safe.
I bet she did. Okay. And sort of, if we're by a river, it's going to start looking for just sort of looking for like bits of wood and rock, and she's sort of holding them up to Scout, like so did this rock let you want a smooth one, and you can either and she reaches into her satchel and pulls out these tiny little instruments, like these tiny little stonework things that you can either like carve something out of it, or and she pulls out this almost looks like a palette where she's crushed lots of different berries and roots and dyes, or you paint them. I mean this one, and she reaches into her pack again, and she pulls out this sort of small wooden carved like dragon, if that's the thing they would have known about. And she's like, so you get the wood, and then I use this, and pulls out the knife and goes, but we're not gonna give you that, and puts it back again. And it's like, but you find things and you make things. I saw you did like herbs and stuff. You can dry those out. You can make those into things. It's using things around you and making them some things that people would want. Like sometimes you get bits of, and starts like pulling out all of these papers upon papers from this satchel that she sort of sits on the ground and starts spreading around her, showing all these detailed drawings of different mushrooms, plants, how she made certain things out of wood and shells and things like that. And
does your mushroom is the mushroom that I have on her list of mushrooms my war
Is
master?
it on there? Is it on there?
My cinnamon mushroom.
Why don't you roll me a perception check, Scout, if you want to see that.
4 to 5.
I think there's
I just realized I'm not rolling on my character sheet for that one. Can I re-roll?
Sure.
Is that mine?
I did worse, but it's fine. It's only fair.
So these sheets, are they Harper's notes or are they things she's paid for from other people?
They're a bit of a mix. Like there's a lot of them are Harper's. Other ones look like maybe bits of books that people have either thrown away or have been like torn or something like that. And she's added her own annotations at the side on things she's learnt, but you can see almost like watercolor and ink style drawings and documentation of things she's found.
I think maybe there's a drawing of a mushroom that looks like the one that Scout has, but there's no information to go with it.
If I eat this, you can make a note as to what this does.
Oh yeah, we could, but I'm just gonna take that away from you right now. He sort of takes the mushrooms out. We're gonna look at that in a minute.
Okay.
But right now you're gonna sew on some buttons whilst I find you some stuff to do. Like trying to go through her stuff to find anything that's not lethal. She probably pulls out that excuse me, that glass jar with that wheat in. And you can see glass jar after glass jar coming out with all of these different things in them. I think one of them has, she has about 3 or 4 jars of fireflies that are sort of constantly going around, maybe have like a soft glow, and she's stacking them out to try and find bits and bobs for Scout to use.
And Scout is dutifully button sewing. You know, I can make potions, kind of potions. Mima calls me a little witch. But not like in the bad way, like in the stories, but like in the healing way.
So, what constitutes a bad witch?
Bad witches use, they steal babies, and she like finishes the button. They, let's see, they steal babies. They kill crops.
Sort of moves the glass around the other side.
And yeah, they have they're angry and they have a scary laugh. That's all I've learned. I usually tell stories about it around this time of year. Didn't you hear stories as a kid about witches?
Not that they stole babies, no, but I
guess that means you're kind of a witch. You steal babies.
I don't
like,
steal babies. You
evil
are
grins.
over 10.
She just grins at her and she like finishes off the button.
It sort of like looks at her. It's like, I don't. Yes, I know of people who use magic. If you do, healing is a good thing.
You're easy to fluster.
Yeah, I know. Sort of looks down at her bag. I am very easy to fluster, yeah.
What are you afraid of, Harper?
Oh, a lot of things. Where do I'm not I'm not scared of anything. I just get nervous, you know. People terrify me.
But people are the least scary of the people. She says that's very assuredly as she just continues sewing buttons.
You seem very, very confident. I haven't been around people a lot. That's what happens when you adventure. You don't. Sometimes you're around a lot of people. Sometimes you're not. And I'm not.
Do you get lonely?
I've got Kit for that, and sort of scratches the top of this fox's head. I've got Kit for that. We're fine.
I think I'd get lonely if I didn't have someone to tell stories back to.
Well, I tell Kit stories. I mean, it's another thing I sell. You can be a story merchant.
Story merchant?
Well, yeah, you know, go sit in a tavern, tell a story, they give you a hot meal. It's kind of handy. And if they don't mind foxes, it's extra handy.
The world is really big, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, have you... How? I'm sort of looking around at the river and the trees and everything. How far have you been? How old are you? I probably should have asked that.
Oh. And she, like, as she finishes the last button, she kind of shakes out the coat, and as she does, all the jingling happens from within the coat.
Mm.
She, like, holds it up.
Glass in there. Okay.
And she offers it to you. She stands herself up at her full, like, 5 feet, puts her hands in her hips. I am 15 years old, and I have not gone any farther than... And she puts where her hands are at the edge of this river, and she kind of takes, like, 5 steps back towards the town. Here.
This is the furthest you've been? Do you want to go further? I mean, we can let you go afoot if you want. We don't have to go that far.
And she starts to, and you can tell, like, she's almost vibrating. Because even though she's reached, like, these kind of mid-teen years, she's very, very young at heart, very... kind of lived this very same life over and over with her grandmother, very young, very kind of eager, and just her smile is so big as she kind of picks up her walking stick. Adventure day.
Give me a second as she starts packing up all of this stuff that she's spread around, slides on this coat and sort of like looks down at the button, smiles at you as if, that's good. Well worth the adventure day, and sort of slides this satchel back over and pulls this as it's maybe getting a little bit cooler. I'm not too sure if the weather's getting a bit cooler. Probably pulls out this sort of knitted hat and stuffs her dark raven-like hair into the back of it.
Is it a bobble hat?
It is a bobble hat, of course it is, Mal. It is a bobble hat. Where's my bobble hat?
The way I had to ask the way you were describing it.
And reaches into her bag and just pulls out another one, just a dark green one towards Scout. Is that your head will get cold if we keep walking?
And she takes it and she kind of just pulls her head down over her ears and she's kind of holding it. And she picks up her stick again.
Perfect. And starts to walk. Just not going too far. Almost does like a big loop, does a big circle, but takes her all the way down to one of the edge parts of the river. Won't go past the boundary, but heads around into some trees, sort of pointing at things here and there. And he's like, so you're 15, and so do you live with just your grandmother?
Mm-hmm. I've lived with my grandmother for, I guess since I was 3.
Huh? She seems nice.
She's a good lady. After my mom and my dad died, she was sad for a long time, but she was always really nice and always made the most of everything. She doesn't have a lot. The house isn't very big, but I mean, it was made for an old lady just by herself.
I mean, you seem to fill it in a very nice way. Very quirky, characteristic. It's definitely very you.
She's very nice, and she always lets me kind of do whatever I want, as long as I don't go too far, because I think she's afraid of losing me, like my mom and my dad. They were very exciting.
Did they travel too far? Okay, that's fine. Well, we're not going to travel too far. Just the right amount.
The right amount.
When you're a merchant, you know what the right amount is. So don't worry. I got this. I am a confident adult. She says, like, looking around. and that's why I have Kit. Kit is great at sensing when not to go too far. So
Scout looks down at Kit. You're smarter than you let on, aren't you?
he blinks. You know that slow blink that cats do? Is that
and Scout is like looking intensely, like you are smarter than I think.
Yeah, I think he is. I've been with him for a while, so
it must be nice to have a friend.
It is. In fact, we became friends around your age, so
well,
you know, you never know. I mean, who are your friends?
Well, no one my age really likes me. They haven't ever, but sometimes I spend time with James, and I spend a lot of time with my Mima, and there's a few farmers who don't kick me out when I show up at their front door. But I don't know if any of them are my friends. People say I'm loud.
Oh, people say I'm quiet. I mean, if it helps, my only friend is Kit. I mean, I know I'm not the same age, which I don't know if that's a qualification or something I need. But I gave you a horse, and you did sew my buttons. Is that what friends do?
And Scout kind of, you can see like all of the processes kind of going through her mind, all of her little gears turning. I think so.
Well, there you go. There you go.
My first friend. You're like my fox.
If you want to put it that way, yeah. And yeah, met same age, yeah. I sort of looks down at Kit, and they sort of look at each other for that brief moment of Kit and Harper looking at each other. Like, I guess that's what it is, yeah. And Adventure Day, obviously, because, you know, yeah.
All right. So, Harper, how far is the right amount?
The right amount is to where the fields stop, where the last fence is. And it's not really a fence, it's more a row of hedges than anything else. And it's sort of almost like the boundary of where they would say you're leaving the village. And you'll probably walk Scout to literally the edge of that footpath. Be like, here is a good place to go. It's not too far, it's not too close. It's like the perfect Adventure Day length.
And Scout is going to gesture with the walking stick. Is that outside of Bluefield?
That is outside of Bluefield. If you want to step over the line, and you will have definitely been further than actually probably a lot of people in this village.
She takes like the biggest deep breath. puffs out her little chest and takes that very confident, straight-footed stride over to the edge of the outside of Bluefield and turns around to look back at Harper.
And Harper sort of throws her hands up, like, okay, you've got to be an adventurer now, right?
It's...
and you sold your first thing today. You're practically a merchant.
And the stick goes flying as her two hands like go into the air, and
Harper ducks.
and as you duck, Scout wraps her arms around Harper into a hug.
She freezes, like, oh my god, oh, like, because she doesn't have like human contact either. She's like, and you know that when like you're stuck in just that tiny little hat on the back of you, on your back, it's like, you just hear like heavy breathing as she's trying to
and Scout is holding this hug and not really realizing the level of discomfort from Harper.
Mm-hmm.
And when she does pull back, you can see that Scout's eyes are a little wet and she has a big grin on her face.
And Harper's not very good at understanding that. She's like, oh my god, what did I do?
My first friend, and I left Bluefield. It is really an adventure day.
And to Scout, you don't know why, but when you took that step over the line, something changed. Something in the air that whatever was different is more noticeable. And I think as you finish this hug with Harper and turn back to look at, I want to say there's probably a wooded area a couple feet away. It's definitely where people would consider, you've left town when you've hit that forest. And normally you'd see the brown of the trees and the color of the leaves having started changing. But something in there is dark. It's not something you've ever seen. And Harper, I think if you notice Scout looking into this wood, you can probably figure out what they're looking at.
Sort of pauses, like looking at Scout, and then looks across at the eye line and looks towards this forest. What is that? And kind of almost puts an arm in front of Scout, just sort of slowly pushing behind, just because of that uneasy feeling.
Yeah, and I think to you, Harper, it's obvious that it's similar to the black that you found in the wheat field that the men were talking about.
Yeah. She sort of puts two hands on Scout's shoulders. We need to go back now. Adventure another day. Adventure another day. We'll go the other side. There's great places down by the river.
And she bends down to pick up her stick. Well, it's early, so I guess you can have some of Mimo's stew.
Great. And sort of like, thank you. Like French stew. Like she's sort of like yabbering on as she's slowly trying to guide them away, probably looking over her shoulder.
And Scout does the same thing for another pier back before she begins her march.
Yeah, and I think even Kit, as everyone's walking, Kit's more focused on the forest than where they're headed. And I think that's where we'll wrap up today as the two of you head back into town.
Yay.
We're ending a little early, but we are missing two people, so we'll do some catch up for them next week and get them introduced, and maybe we'll start to figure out what's going on.
Hell yeah.
I love it already. I'm already obsessed with these
it's so
two.
Good.
This little chaos duo of, oh my god, don't touch them. What is that? Put that down.
A
Stop
very scared
it.
adult and this very, very young at heart teen. I wanted her to be old enough to be able to physically handle travel. But the way she was raised, very much to the heart of an 11 or 12-year-old. like that very kind of innocent outlook. A very, let's do this.
Yeah, I think mine's probably lived on her own for so long that she's very aware of what dangers are out there. But yeah, this has been awesome. So everyone, please check out the links that are coming up in the chat to our Discord. You can find a group purely for this. We'd love to hear what you think about this. I know I'm already obsessed with this magical world. I've always wanted to play Ryutama. Please check out our YouTube. If you've missed anything, you can go and catch up there. The music is insane on this. I love it. Also, a huge thank you to our wonderful sponsors who we could not do this without. This includes Mage Hand Press, and you can pre-order Dark Matter now. And I love Dark Matter. If anyone knows that, that's what I used for Argo 37. So much fun. Please go check it out. The Deck of Many have Humblewood and their moving magic cards. They have loads of Black Friday deals going on at the moment, and you can also get free delivery when you use the code Scratticus. Last but certainly not least, Hero Forge, which is basically a super addictive place where you can make all your minis in such detail, and it's insane. It's so good. I know I'll be making this character on Hero Forge very, very soon. But put aside an hour or so because you could be on there for a while. Otherwise, until next week, keep evoking emotions, and we'll see everyone later. Bye.